Stoic morning call. What if the first battle of your day is the most important one of all? The one between comfort and calling. Why do ants, birds, and bees rise without question to fulfill their purpose, while we lie motionless, staring at the ceiling, bargaining with ourselves? And here's the real question. Were you born just to stay warm under the blankets or to ignite something far greater? Every morning, a quiet war begins long before your feet touch the floor. It's not fought with swords, but with whispers. One voice says, "Stay, it's warm here, you deserve it." The other, firmer and older, says, "Rise, there is work to be done." This is the voice of your nature, your purpose, the part of you forged by reason and strengthened through discipline. And this morning, like every morning, that voice is calling. Marcus Aurelius, writing nearly 2,000 years ago in the quiet hours before dawn, faced the same resistance we all do. And he answered it not with excuses, but with clarity. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, "I have to go to work," as a human being. What do we truly have to complain about when our work is aligned with our nature? Why do we drag our feet, avoiding the very things we were made for? Are we born simply to stay cozy, to remain soft in a hard world, or to rise and meet the day with open hands and willing spirit? Look around. The world stirs with purpose. Birds sing not just to break the silence, but to claim their space in the fray. World. Ants march in disciplined lines. Bees hum with industrious focus. Even the spiders weave their web with quiet artistry. Every creature plays its part. So, what about you? Why do you hesitate? Marcus asked this of himself. Do you see the plants, the ants, the spiders, the bees going about their individual tasks, putting the world in order as best they can, and you're not willing to do your job as a human being? These creatures don't pause to question their worth or weigh their options. They act, they move, they build. Meanwhile, we negotiate with ourselves for a few more minutes, clinging to comfort as though it were salvation. But here's the hard truth. Comfort is not salvation. Comfort is the sedative that delays your greatness. But we need sleep, you might say. Marcus agreed. We have to sleep sometime. Yet he reminds us that nature, in its wisdom, has already drawn a line. There is a time to rest and a time to rise. To exceed the limit is not self-care. It's neglect of your purpose. You're over the limit, he wrote. You've had more than enough of that, but not of working. There, you're still below your quota. That line lands like a hammer below your quota. We crave progress, but avoid the price. We want the rewards of work without the labor. Yet every day we stall is a day not just wasted, but surrendered. Here comes the deeper insight. Marcus challenges us with love. He says, you don't love yourself enough, or you'd love your nature too and what it demands of you. This isn't criticism, it's an invitation. To know ourselves deeply is to understand what we are made for. Not idleness, not indulgence, but impact. People who truly love what they do, Marcus says, forget to eat or sleep. Not because they are unhealthy, but because they are consumed by their craft. The engraver, the dancer, the sculptor. When they are immersed in their art, everything else fades. It's not obsession, it's purpose. It's flow. Do you have less respect for your own calling than they do for theirs? Let that question linger. If a craftsman can be so committed to his hammer and chisel, how much more should you be to the shaping of your own character? If a dancer honors her art with aching feet and endless rehearsal, what does it say when we neglect our own path because the bed is warm? Marcus doesn't pose these questions to shame us. He asks them to awaken us, to shake us from the spell of stagnation. Helping others, building your craft, living virtuously. These are no less noble than painting or poetry. They are in fact the highest art of all, the art of living. So tomorrow morning, when the alarm sounds and the bed whispers for you to stay, remember this. You were not created for comfort. You were created to experience life fully, through the doing. through the striving, through the inevitable sweat of effort. You were made to rise. Still think staying warm is worth more than fulfilling your calling? The Stoics weren't detached from life. They were deeply engaged with it. They knew the struggle of discipline. They embraced the weight of responsibility. But they also knew the reward. A life lived on purpose, a mind at peace because it chose the harder path day after day. And as Marcus reminds us, the measure of your commitment is not found in how you feel when you're inspired, but in what you do when you're tired. Do not envy the man who avoids effort. Envy the one who wakes, tired yet willing. The one who runs toward duty, not because it's easy, but because it is right. Envy the one who knows that every dawn is a decision, comfort or character. You already know the answer. That's why you're here. Now, before we turn to the next page and dive deeper into how the Stoics trained their minds for the day, take a breath. Ask yourself, will you let the blankets win today? Or will you rise and meet the world with the strength that was always yours to claim? Let's continue. At dawn, when you find yourself struggling to get out of bed, ask yourself this: why am I hesitating to rise and meet the day? I was not born to stay buried under covers. I was born to live, to act, to fulfill my duty as a human being. It's easy to say, but it's warm and comfortable here. Of course it is. But were you born to feel comfortable, or to step into your role, to rise with purpose and embrace your nature? Look around you. The birds, the ants, the spiders, and the bees, they're all up and moving, each one carrying out its task, building the world with silent precision. Nature has set them in motion, and yet here we are, gifted with reason and strength, unwilling to do what we were made for. Why? Why do we resist doing what our human nature calls for? Why don't we leap into action? Yes, rest is important. Yes, sleep is necessary. But like eating and drinking, nature gives it a limit. And you perhaps have already crossed that line. You've had your rest. But have you fulfilled your purpose? Are you still far behind in your share of the work? If you truly loved yourself, you would love your purpose. And if you loved your purpose, you wouldn't drag your feet to meet it. The artist doesn't sleep when inspired. The dancer, the sculptor, the writer, they often skip meals, skip rest just to immerse themselves in their craft. Why? Because they are in love with their purpose. And if they, moved by passions, can give so much of themselves, why can't you? Are you saying helping others is worth less than a painting, less than a performance? If your purpose is to serve, to contribute, to shape a better world, then why are you hiding under the sheets when the day is calling? Let this be your reminder. You were born for more than warmth and rest. You were born to fulfill your nature. So rise, do what you were made to do. Now that we've confronted the resistance of our own comfort, let's take the next step and explore how the Stoics guided themselves and us through moments of internal struggle. Before you close this video, remember, your greatest power lies not in inspiration, but in action. So if today's message stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Take it with you. Rise with it. Move with it. If you found value in this, hit subscribe for more daily calls to strength, wisdom, and clarity, guided by Marcus Aurelius and the timeless path of Stoicism. Share this with someone who's battling the morning fog, and leave a comment below. What do you rise for? Because tomorrow's dawn is coming, and now you'll be ready.